back to Psalms 139 tonight, and it is such a good Psalms, and we're going to read. Our main goal is Psalms 139 verses, yeah, and the title is God is Ever Near. I'm glad to know that. Sometimes it feels like He's a far, far away God. Well, I got a at least I got a one And I think I got a nod from the head from Crystal. So every now and then it feels like God's far away. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe I feel like I'm far away from God. I mean, it's hard to be. It's hard to be. It's hard to believe that God is far away when you read Scripture. It's not hard to believe that you're far away from God when you look at your life sometime, though. And David's going to remind us, we're going to start at verse 1. Our main goal is to read verses 7, 8, 9, and 10 tonight. That's our goal, if we get there. But we're going to start at verse 1, and we're going to read those again. We read them last week. We're going to read them again this week. And Lord willing, we're going to watch Matt bend rebar next week. Right, Matt? Matt's going to come in here, and are we going to need to move some stuff around? Nope, just Matt's going to bend rebar, and you're going to minister to us about how to bend rebar. And I'm looking forward to that. The youth's going to be in here next Wednesday night, so I'm excited about what he's going to do. So, but here we go with Psalms 139, and we're going to start with verse 1. And verse 1 says this: "O Lord, you have searched me, and you know me." And we stopped last week, and I don't have to go back here again, but let's go. Mark's like, please don't go back. Please, do you have to go back and read that, even read it? But you have searched me, and you do know me, and knowing that you know me, and knowing that you search me is still a scary thing. Even though I've told you, here's my life, Lord. Here's my hope. Here's my whole thing, God. God goes, yeah, I thank you for giving me permission, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn on that real intricate little light, and I'm going to go spotlight hunting. Anybody ever been silver snipe hunting? You either have to be real drunk or real stupid to go silver snipe hunting. And I almost went one night because I was we'll just leave what I was alone. And they almost convinced me that there was this little creature called a silver snipe, and you needed this particular kind of flashlight to go find it. And that flashlight was the only kind of light to find that. You've heard of it before. Oh, you've been? Oh, okay. Were you drunk, or I know you're not. You're just gullible. Well, that's a good word. That's a good word. God's word will make you gullible. It will open you up, rip you apart, and make you say, yes, God, here I am, search me. And God, when He gets through, you will go, what in the world was I thinking when I told God, okay? Because when God gets through, it's like when He puts you in a sifter, one of those real fine sifters, and He shake. What you doing, Eric? Garrett's shaking his head. What? What do you mean interesting? Help me. It can be painful, can it not? When you tell God, search me, God, here's permission. Know me, God. Get intimate with me. God goes, okay, this is what I'll do. You know when I sit down, and you know when I rise up. You just... Do we have to read this one again too, Mark? And we can just leave. Well, that was a strong... That was almost like the earthquake that we got Sunday morning there, Jessica. I mean, would you like to define that? I mean, because you discern my thoughts afar off. You say, Pastor, you sound like you're a broke record from last week. I know we were here last week, and I told you my goal is to make it to 7, 8, 9, and 10. But I want to remind us of what kind of God we serve. I don't want us to forget about our thoughts. I don't want us to forget about our lifestyle. We're coming up this coming Sunday at 5 o'clock, and we're having prayer service in here, and it's a prayer revival. And Lynn was setting, she's over it, I'm not. I'm the closer. I feel like I'm the pitcher in the World Series, and she's the pitcher to start the World Series. And she said, we're going to pray for this, 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 we're going to pray for this. I think I'm going to get this person to pray for this. I said, that's a good choice. Go get that person to pray for this. I said, that's a pretty good choice. Go get this person to pray for this. I said, that's a really good choice. We're going to get this person to pray for that. I went, my goodness. Yeah. Oh, we're still going to do that too? Oh, you went ahead and did it this past Sunday? How'd that turn out for you? Pretty good. That sounds like pretty good. Huh? Hold on a second here. I told you if we got to 7, 8, 9, it'd be okay, right? So he knows my thoughts. So when I give him the right to search me and try me and tell him, okay, God, we're going to do it anyway. You know, they called it off, but we're going to go ahead and fast. So any great news? No great news? She's being ugly. Hey, quit that. I looked over at her. She's going, no great news. Oh, you were? I know you were smiling, but you were shaking your head no.
Well, what we prayed for was a new house, more money to be able to give the kids what we want to give them and stuff like that. And we had, when I left the city, I had a 401k with the city.
Right. Praise God.
Which is going to end up being pretty good down payment on a nice house to where we can get out where we're at.
Not bad. Sounds like God. Huh? He knows my thoughts afar off. You search out my path, my lying down. You're acquainted with all my ways. God, I don't have to read all this. Let's just skip all this. Huh? All in favor of skipping? We got outvoted, guys. I'm sorry that was... I'm sorry. I'm not trying to beat you up again this week. I'm beating myself up. You're acquainted with all my ways. And I got to tell you something. Sometimes your ways really please God, and sometimes God goes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change your ways. You ever had your parents tell you, young man, you better change your ways. If you don't, I am. What'd you tell him, Crystal? Young man, you better change your ways. No, it was one of the kids.
Lord Jesus, everybody please pray for us, because I'm telling you, we are going through something with him right now that is just...
Then God knows how to change Dallas's ways. He knows how to change ways. He knows ways. And nothing catches God off guard about our children. And nothing catches God off guard about our lives. He knows our ways. You know, I can say this to Candy because Candy and Lynn are the only two people in this building that know Helen. But when it caught me off guard about Helen dying, nothing catches God off guard. And God knows Helen's ways. God knows our ways. He knows what we choose. I mean, I asked Lynn this. I got a weird phone call this morning from my counselor. Just out of the blue. I asked Lynn, I accused Lynn, did you call the counselor and rat me out? I really did, because I had just sent her a text that said, I am so depressed. Well, it's okay if I get depressed. You get depressed. I think y'all do, all except Linda Dagenhart. She never gets depressed. She's Superwoman like Lynn. They never get depressed. They just zoom around on their double throttle. Anyway, hey, Linda's like, I will get him after church. But you know, I sent her a text. I said, I'm so depressed. I was sitting on the tailgate of my truck, and that thing hurts, you know. And I was so depressed that the tailgate of the truck began to feel good. And about that time, my counselor calls me. Hey, Troy, how you doing? I'm good, Jim. Not meeting with you today. No, we're not. We're supposed to meet next Monday. I said, yep. You're doing all right? No. I'm depressed. Well, what's you depressed over? And he starts into this list of stuff that's going on in my head. And I'm going, do you regret? And I went, yeah. Do you regret? And I went, well, do you regret? And I went, and then he said this. And I went, well, how'd you? Lynn's ratted me out. So Lynn calls 30 minutes later after he's hung up. And I went, did you rat me out? Did you call Jim? I don't even have Jim's number. So she says. She's telling the truth. I know she is. And then I come in here tonight and I read this. God, you're acquainted with all my ways. Do you know God's acquainted with all of our ways? And He doesn't need anybody to rat you out, to help you out. Did you hear me? Oh, God, that sounded so good. Where did that come from? It had to come from God, because it surely can't come out of me right now. God doesn't need somebody to rat you out to help you out, because God's acquainted with your ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, O Lord, verse 4, behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. In other words, before I ever form any language, before I ever say anything, God, you know what I'm going to... Wow, isn't that... Huh? Say that again. That is scary. But it is also cool on the other hand. It's scary that God knows that much about us, the whole universe. You say, wait a minute, just use the earth. Okay, we'll use the earth. You say, why? Because God will just say we're the only entity that God could ever create. There's nothing God that could ever create any greater than us. So here we are on this little blueberry. And God knows it all together. And look here. You have hemmed me in, behind me and for me. You've laid your hand on me. In other words, there's no escaping you, God. There's no getting away from you, God. There's nowhere I can go. Well, we're going to get there in a minute. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is too high for me. I cannot contain it. In other words, I can't figure you out, God. I've went pi r square. I've done the root. I've done this. I've done that. I've done every mathematical figure. I've drawed you out. I've made stick figures of you. I've done everything I possibly can to figure you out, God. And I can't figure you out, because when I think I've got you figured out, God, you step into the arena of my life and blow me away. What? How many times? How many times has God stepped into the arena of your life and blowed you away and just went, here I am. I almost won't go, here I am rocking like a hurricane. Here I am being God. Here I am showing off. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. Look here. Where shall I go from your spirit? Verse finally made it to verse 7. Where shall I go from your spirit? Where shall I go from your spirit? Somebody else say that with me. Where shall I go from your spirit? How can I escape you, God? According to the book of Tammy on the first row, you cannot escape God. You can't outrun Him. He says this, or where shall I flee from your presence? Question mark. Where can I go? How can I get away from you? Where can I get rid of your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. Well, of course you're there, God. That's where your throne's at. If I make my bed in hell or Shiloh, you are there. That's y'all's dog's name, isn't it? Shiloh. You know you named your dog Hell? When I said Shiloh, I thought, I think that's Tony and Candy Murray's dog's name. If I go to heaven, you're there. If I ascend to hell, you say, no, wait a minute, God's not in hell. Yeah, He is. There's nowhere He's not. You cannot limit God by time or space. You cannot put God in a box. You want me to tell you how He's there in hell? Because men have carried them there in Him there in their conscience. How do I get rid of your presence? How do I get rid of your spirit? Never. It doesn't matter whether a man or a woman goes down to the pits of hell. They carry the conscience presence of God into that eternal torment with them. I will never, ever, ever forget. Never forget. I was wanting to preach on hell. I remember I was young, much younger. And I wanted to preach on hell. And I asked God, show me hell. God, show me hell. Show me hell. He said, okay. So I'm driving Power Seafood truck. I just made a delivery down here at Stowe's, Twin Tops Fish Camp. Then I stopped at Stowe's. And when I got in the truck at Stowe's Fish Camp, I heard the Spirit of the Lord speak to me and said, so you want to see hell? And I said, sure, Lord. So He started showing me something. He said, when you were a teenager, you got hit by a car head on a motorcycle. You could have went to hell, but I kept you from it. He said, you were in a car with Billy Bingham, and the car went up on two wheels, and you were going into the woods. And I set the car back down. You could have went to hell that night. You were down at the hot hole, or not the hot hole, the nuclear power plant, and you were under the bridge swimming, back when they would let you, before they would shoot you dead now. And you had dove off the catwalk, and you'd swam over to the rocks, and you had told Chuck Morgan, Chuck, get off the rocks. They're slimy, they're slick, and once you slide off of them, it's a straight down. I was swimming out to the pylon that held the road up. And something in me said, turn around. And when I turned back around, I was swimming back, and they were screaming, he's drowning, he's drowning, he's drowning. And all I can remember, Eric, was somebody came up to me for the third time, and it was Chuck. And he bear hugged me and took me and him down. We were from here to that altar, from those rocks to the shore. I can't tell you, Barbara, to this day how we got from there to there. But somehow, when I came up, we were on the shore. And he was bear hugging me. I mean, he had wrapped his arms around me, his legs around me, and was squeezing the life out of me. And when he came up, he was puking water out. He'd gone down for his third time. The Lord said, you could have went to hell that night. He told me, he showed me one other thing. But then he showed me doing a drug overdose. I will never forget. Jessica did a drug overdose in a rat-infested trailer one night. And my Catholic girlfriend, who I was dating, came back and laughed at me. I told her, I said, I'm dying. She said, "How, you're not dying." I'd taken a bunch of pills. I didn't know what they were. And I was dying. I laid on that bed. I felt that bed going. I felt me going around and around. The more I went around and around, Mark, the hotter I got. And the hotter I got, the further I fell. I'll never forget, Crystal, rolling off the edge of that bed, going over to a urinated, nasty, filthy commode, Mark, and laying my head on that commode, making myself throw up, drinking hot water. I can't tell you, Candy, how I got home. The Lord said you were on your way to hell that night, and I showed mercy to you. There was one other incident, a shotgun that went off in my head. My aunt told me, said God woke me up and told me if I didn't pray for you, you were going to hell tonight. And God said, "Did I show you hell? Is that enough hell, or do you want to see more hell?" I said, "God, that's enough hell." He said, "If I make my bed in hell," sometimes you need to remember the hell you've been close enough to and go, "God, I remember that you delivered me from hell. You kept me from going there." Hey, Doug Walker, how many times has God delivered you from on a motorcycle from going to hell? 4 times, he said. What's those scars on your head, Mark? How many times God delivered you from going to hell? A bunch. How many drunken stupor? How many drug overdoses are in this place tonight? How many mistakes? How many crazy things have we done, John Lane, that could have took our life in a half a second just because of a crazy dare that somebody asked us to do something crazy? Throw a bullet in the fire, and all of a sudden something whizzed by our head. He said, "Where do I go?" You say, "You're off target." No, I'm on target. Somebody's watching me. Somebody's listening to me. Somebody's listening to me in this building tonight. He said, "Where do I go?" Verse 9. Look at 9. "If I take wings to the morning and I dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea." What does it say in verse 10? Look here at verse 10. "Even there your hand shall lead me." Hold on a second. God's in control. Somebody ought to shout it. God's in control. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on the circumstance. Just because you're bad or you've done bad or you feel bad or things are bad, don't give up. My God. "Your right hand shall hold me." I know I'm supposed to stop at verse 10 because that's where I'm supposed to stop at. And I don't know if Barbara got a verse 11. You can give me verse 11. We're going to cheat. We're going to put one more on there. We're going to cheat. "If I say surely darkness shall cover me and light..." We're going to cheat more than that. "Shall cover me, the light about me be my night." 12, give it to me. Even darkness is not dark to you, and the night is as bright as day, for the darkness is a light with you." I'm ahead of myself, and that's okay. Verse 13. We may just finish this thing up. We'll stop. Go back to 12. I want to close on 12. "Even the darkness is not darkness to you." Even the darkness is not darkness to you. This is next week's thing, and I know I'm messing it up, and that's okay. I'll just mess it up and not do it. But the darkness is not darkness to God, and the night is as bright as the day to God. And you may be in a dark time. You may be in one of the darkest times you've ever been in your life. I got to be honest with you. This is a dark time for me. My mom's death wasn't a dark time. Ricky and Helen dying both at the same day. Ricky dying, I'm rejoicing that he is in heaven with Jesus. I am sad over Teresa's loss. I am sad over Teresa's loss. I am. We have prayed hundreds and hundreds of times that God would bring Ricky up out of the wheelchair and he would walk and be made whole. I've asked God 100 times. Ricky is whole today, out of a wheelchair, up walking around. Matt said somebody come up to him, told him if he had faith, God would give him legs again. Matt said, don't think so. He said, I'm right where God wants me. He said, my ministry's in that chair. Not many people will tell you that. A lot of people have suck bottom attitude and go, well, it's the darkest time of my life. And I guarantee you Matt's been through some dark times, and he may tell some stuff next week, and I'll just shut my mouth about Matt and let Matt do his ministry next week. But I tell you what, in the darkest times of our life, God says, watch this, I'll turn on a light. I'll flip on a switch. I'll turn something on that will make you smile, that will make you sing, that will make you go, oh my God, where'd that come from? $19,000. Whoop, drop kick me, Jesus, over the goalpost of life. Hallelujah. Huh? You say you're crazy. I mean, somebody walk up and tell me, you got $19,000. I go, well, baby, it looks like we're going to get us a house. Huh? Or I'd be going, hey, honey, I'm going to pay your car off. I can pay your car off and still have some money, Lynn. Yay! Or more gun. No. No. Just look. Hey, look, you need to look over there. Ixnay on the gun. Oh, for you. Oh, for you. Yeah, for you. Yeah, bless you, my child. No motorcycle parts or no gun parts are to be mentioned. This is a commercial-free zone, okay? Anything you say can and will be used against me, all right? And you, okay? God's not flipping on those lights. Those lights went out, you know. Those lights went out in Georgia and North Carolina. See, God, look here. What are we doing right now? We're laughing. You say, Pastor, we're laughing at you. Yeah, but laughter is a medicine. It's a medicine. It's a good medicine that God gives us. And it's something He pours in on us when things get really dark in our life, when things really seem out of control, when we feel like we're out of control, when we feel like everything just goes crazy. You know, I just... Can I brag on y'all? I've got texts from people this week that I didn't expect to get texts from, that said some of the most profound things to me that I've stepped back and went, oh my God. God, that has to be you. Or somebody's ratted me out again. And God goes, I'm the rat. Call me God. I know what you need. I know how to take care of everything. I know how to turn your bleak into a blessing. Will somebody say that with me? I know how to turn your bleak into a blessing. One more time. I know how to turn your bleak into a blessing. Well, let's do it again. I know how to turn your bleak into a blessing. Will you meet me at this altar and let's watch God turn some bleakness into blessings? You just meet me here and watch God turn things around.